course, weapons also function in the indication of female gender, and so we often see particular kinds of weapons associated with women as forms of self-defense, and reflecting a woman's virginity or her ability to control her own sexuality in society. That's a particularly strong recurring theme that we see, particularly for small personal weaponry that's carried around the body. And there are various other complicated ways that people have relationships with weaponry.
I'm really interested in something you mentioned earlier about types of weapons for women, because obviously we see it a lot in this country, particularly with Saxon burials. You know, ladies and girls, they've always got a knife or two in the burial. So I'm really interested in how that works around the world in an ethnographic context, because you know, you imagine, or you would assume, they're women, it's as a tool, it's for enabling them to do their jobs and, you know, and for work. But this idea that you've suggested that it's also for self-defense or as a sign that somebody can protect themselves, I think was a really interesting one. So I mean, does that crop up a lot then around the world in world cultures?
It does.
Yeah.
It does crop up around the world a lot in world cultures. I think
I mean, are there many cases of girls and women having specific weapons that are given to them as a weapon rather than something they can chop some veg with or perform manual tasks with?
Absolutely, and you often have disguised weapons for women to carry as well.
Right.
I think that the relationship between women and weaponry is quite a complicated one, because weapons in most societies have a very clear association with masculinity, and that's partly to do with men's economic role traditionally as pursuing hunters, and it's partly to do with the gendered nature of warfare in most societies, not all. So often what you find is weaponry that is concealed as items of jewellery. Particularly in Korea, there was a very strong tradition of producing little lockets that were little folded two-piece lockets that contained knives, incredibly sharp knives, that were presented to girls when they went through puberty, and they used to wear them as little decorative lockets, beautiful little cloisonné enameled silver objects that would not necessarily be themselves particularly noticeable about the girl's body, but was always there for the girl to use if she needed to protect herself in that situation. So those kinds of things I think are really interesting. And we often see, in East Africa, you see situations where weapons are used ceremonially by girls in a kind of a coming of age ritual. You see often short spears that are used in that kind of situation. Unusual things that are, again, not practical.
Right.
Another very good example of a weapon that's specifically designed for women is the Derringer pistol. Obviously, it was very popular in North America. And that's specifically a pistol that's designed to be carried essentially inside a handbag. It's a personal sidearm specifically for that purpose, and specifically designed to be used by women. So